and welcome everyone to Inova's Tech Insights podcast, which is optimizing IT infrastructure and security. And with me today, I am honored to be interviewing or meeting or discussing with Javier. Javier Nevares is our technical support supervisor. I had the pleasure of engaging Javier in the technical space, and I must say that he is one of our SMEs for areas, right? And we are happy to have him on this conversation today. And we are going to be, as I mentioned, talking about managed services, cybersecurity, and of course, IT infrastructure leading to Azure cloud solutions, right? And I'm going to go straight into the questions so I can give Javier as much time as possible to educate us. So Javier, tell me, when it comes to cybersecurity readiness, right? What are some of the key factors businesses should take in mind, should keep in mind as they consider adequately protecting themselves, right? Like what are the key factors they should bear in mind when they want to make sure they're protected?
All right, so the first thing we need to talk about, obviously Azure, for those that don't know, it's a cloud platform. It offers a comprehensive set of tools, and it gives capabilities for businesses of either very small sizes or very large sizes. One of the main things in Azure, it's that they are always working with their cybersecurity measures to keep us safe. We have tools like Azure Security Center, which can be a sort of a dashboard that monitors and manages everything that has to do with Azure. It also works with hybrid and multi-cloud environments. So if you have Azure and you have AWS, you can actually use this dashboard to unify all of that information into just one dashboard. We also have Security Center, which provides things like recommendations, alerts, remediation to help improve their security and your tenants' hygiene. And you can reduce attack surface so that you don't have any troubles in the future. We also have Azure Sentinel, which is a cloud native security information and event management tool, or as we call it, a CM solution. It collects, analyzes, responds to security data from various sources. Again, not only Azure, but anything that you have on premises or any other cloud providers. This tool also uses artificial intelligence and machine learning to detect, investigate any kind of threats that you have. And you can automate responses, which is great because then you don't have to be on the computer 24/7. It can also work orchestrating workflows, so you can decide what should happen when you have an event like that. You also have Azure Defender, which is a cloud workload protection platform that can provide you advanced threat protection and vulnerability management for Azure. This also works with hybrid resources like virtual machines, containers, database, any Internet of Things devices, anything like that can be covered with this Defender option. This also integrates into Security Center and Sentinel. So you have a holistic view of everything that you have inside of your environment. Very important as well, Azure Active Directory, which is the cloud-based identity and access management service that we have with Microsoft 365 as well. This can protect you, and you can have seamless access to all of your application and resources from it while keeping us secure, of course.
Absolutely. And I love that you've started with the others and ended with Active Directory, right? Because AD, we know it's on-prem, again, as you mentioned, and also is built into Azure. Correct me if I'm wrong, or correct me if I'm right. Azure Active Directory is now Entra ID?
It is now known as Entra ID. We still call it Azure AD because we just learned to name it originally like that, yes. But it's now known as Entra ID, that is correct.
Absolutely. So for everyone there, and to go back to hit the notes on the cybersecurity options that we have and what we call the built-in tools that Azure has made available. You have Active Directory, now Entra ID. You also have Azure Defender, and there are different levels and tiers to Defender. We'll probably go into that in a different session. There's Sentinel, which is a SIEM, right? Security, Information, and Events Management solution, which is built into Azure as well. These are things that we can educate you more on, or you can explore Microsoft's knowledge base. And there's Security Center. One of the things I like to hear of is Secure Score. One of our customers reached out about that recently, and Azure and Microsoft is allowing you to use native tools that are in the solution to manage your security posture, right? Ensuring that while you may have additional tools, there are elements within Azure that help stabilize you. So security is of utmost importance, right? Importance to Azure or within the Azure space, correct?
That's correct. And it's actually really important that you check your secure score. Secure score has always been there. It doesn't matter if you do have X amount of licenses or just a few of them, you always have a secure score. So if check your secure score, you need to make sure that you have the things that it will recommend you to get that secure score up. Normally, people think that just because I have a license that includes security, that you're already secure, but that's not the case. You actually need to set up your security in order to be secure.
Absolutely. And that is where our team, apart from consulting, we can help you with those services to identify and ensure that you're taking the right steps and making the right actions to increase that secure score and improve your security posture overall. So we've touched on the Azure cybersecurity measures, Sentinel, SIEM, Defender, Entra ID, Active Directory. And as we move beyond that, right, we have a lot of our customer base, especially I'm based in Jamaica, right? I'm not sure how PR is, but there are a lot of our customers who are still managing on-premise infrastructure. We're finding more of them moving into hybrid scenarios where they do have, well, it could be a mix of cloud solutions, but on-premise with cloud, whether it's on-premise with Azure, which we prefer, or AWS or Google or any of those, but they have the different hybrid scenarios. But let's talk a little bit more about optimizing infrastructure in itself with managed services. How do we see, or can you highlight some benefits that a business can expect partnering with Inova, for example, for managed services?
All right. So first, I want to make sure that everybody is clear on what is managed services. So managed services, it's everything or every service or every support that you get outsourced to a third party. So in this case, for us at Inova, it will mean that we will take care of your for the design, implementation, operation of this IT infrastructure that you have, whether it's on-prem or on the cloud. Managed services can help customers or businesses to achieve different things like reducing the cost and complexity of your IT, because if you don't have a big team of IT, then you do need support to get that moving and working. It will save you money and time, because you won't have to invest in a lot of hardware, software, and staff to manage that IT infrastructure. Inova Solutions can provide a flexible and a scalable pricing model that aligns with the business needs of that budget. If you are a small business that you just need someone to actually support the whole of your IT, we can help with that. If you're a big company that just needs help with certain projects because you just don't have the amount of employees to take care of that, or you just want them focused on something else, we can also help with that. This also simplifies the way IT works, because you'll have a single point of contact for us, and we can help you with any kind of request or issues that you have. This will also increase your own efficiency and performance of your employees, because they'll be focused on whatever operations and service they have to do, and you don't have to look for any kind of expertise in a certain specific topic, because we'll have that for you. Inova will provide the monitoring, the maintenance, and any kind of implementation that you do need for your IT infrastructure. This is a service that we can provide either 8 to 5 or 24/7, depending on your business needs. And we have a SLA that guarantees the availability, performance, and resolution of those cases. We'll also work, and this is one of the focus points of Inova Solutions, we'll work on your security and your compliance by helping those businesses protect your data, your assets from any kind of cyber threats that it's becoming a common thing nowadays. We always set everything up by industry best practices, either by the Microsoft or even ones that we create at Inova to make everything even more secure. Any kind of antivirus, backup solution, disaster recovery, encryption needs, or compliance needs that you have, Inova can help you with that as well. And we always adhere to the higher standards of data privacy and confidentiality. We have two services specifically that I wanted to mention. That we call them the Guardian services. In this case, we have the Guardian Data Protection and the Data Defender. Data protection, it is important for you to know that that Microsoft does not provide an automatic backup protection for any kind of your data. Yes, they do back up the files in your OneDrive and your SharePoint for a few days. And yes, you have a backup of your email so that they are in the deleted folders for a certain amount of time. But if that data gets deleted after a few days, then there is no way to actually get those back. So you don't really have a backup. So any kind of SaaS application that you have that offers any kind of accessibility and availability, then you're basically losing all of that important data due to this issue. We offer this data protection service. It will protect you against things like malware, ransomware attacks, malicious and user activity, accidental data overrides, any canceled or expiring account. You won't lose the data for that user. This will work exactly the same way as a traditional on-prem system, but in the cloud. We always talk about this because people think that as long as you're in the cloud, you're protected. Again, you have to set up security and you have to set up things like any kind of data loss prevention to actually be secure in the cloud. We do this with a third-party backup solution that we work every single day with, and we can set this up for you so that you're protected in terms of OneDrive, SharePoint, Teams, or any kind of SharePoint sites that you have, as well as your email. This kind of backup solution provides added security and peace of mind, allowing your organization or your business to actually mitigate any kind of potential data loss pitfalls that you can come up with in the future. This service is fully automated and it's continuous. You can do point-in-time restores. You can export that data either to the original user or to an extra user in case that user is no longer available. There is retention for your files indefinitely. So if you have the service for 20 years, you can actually restore up to 20 years of data. And this service also complies with SOC, HIPAA, and GDPR compliance. The other service that I mentioned is Data Defender. Data Defender, it's a proactive monitoring tool that we set up in your organization, and it basically gives a dedicated tool to mitigate any kind of security attack that you can have. If your data is breached or any kind of your users are actually affected, this will protect you. This is a monthly service that we provide, and it gives you comprehensive protection of all of your Microsoft 365 environments. This monitors things like the security event logon. It does Azure AD or Entra ID monitoring. It has Microsoft 365 malicious logins and secure score monitoring. It does work with Windows and Mac OS. It does breach detection, malicious files detection, threat hunting, intrusion detection. We do include all the reporting for all the events, and we also offer it in an 8 to 5 p.m. Service or a 24/7 monitoring service as well.
So I see that we have different flavors and different elements to our managed service offerings to our customer base. That is great, Javier. Thank you for that. And what I found standing out there is that, yes, Microsoft does back up your data, right, for a portion of time or for a period of time, very short. However, for extended periods with policies that you need to implement and secure, then that's where we come in with this Guardian solution that we have, right? SaaS solution, which covers your Teams and SharePoint and a few other elements within M365, right? We would like to for our customers to understand that where Microsoft has a gap in the backup solution, this is where we can step in to support you and give you that continued backup additive, I would say, right? And we also mentioned managed services, and one of the things I will mention and highlight coming out of Javier's feedback is when you have a small or even a large enterprise and you have limited resources or skill sets, it's good to tap into another organization that has expertise in those areas to leverage that versus upskilling someone for a short-term solution that may not necessarily be, I would say, as important. And again, it's hybrid. We do focus on cloud, but again, the scenario covers all of your space. Once we have the conversation, once we understand your environment, then we make the recommendations based on what we understand from your resourcing, your skill levels, and your overall needs. The service level, of course, is important, and it's unique to each customer because each customer has a different requirement. And although we may have a static SLA, we are flexible in customizing that for our customers. Correct, Javi?
That is very correct. Our country manager here in Puerto Rico has a saying that I always say, it's very true. He says, if you're a jack of all trades, you're a master of none. And that is very true. You cannot be expected to know everything. It is important that you focus on the things that you're good at. And just like we do, I personally do security, but there are some other guys here at the office that develop platform, Azure, or any other topic. So always, you always have different hands helping you out, but we're all here to help.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that very same country manager himself, he may have different, I call it wide knowledge of many things, but deep in areas of expertise, right? So Javier, as he mentioned, security, you may find Nestor in Azure, you may find Drupal, which you will meet later on in Modern Workplace, but we have persons assigned to areas of expertise. And what we can do, as we mentioned, we allow you to focus on what you're really good at to get better at that, right? And then we will step into the areas where there are gaps for skills and or resource availability, right? So feel free to outsource us, feel free to engage us for more information regarding that service. We'll be happy to speak with you. And that's across all of our locations, not just Jamaica, not just PR, but Curacao and the other territories with so happy. Now that we've spoken about on-premise, and then we've mentioned that we have a lot of customers on-premise, some hybrid, but moving from on-premise to cloud is a significant decision for a lot of customers. There are a lot of things to consider. What are the primary benefits that businesses can realize by transitioning to cloud? And I know we've knocked this over their head for years, but there's still people who are fully on-prem. So what would be the benefits highlighted for them to move to a cloud solution like Azure?
The first thing that I have to say is the flexibility that you have to go from one kind of service to the other. We have three terms that are very, very common in cloud. One, it's called software as a service. The other, it's platform as a service. And then there is infrastructure as a service. I won't get into every single detail of them because it does take a little while to figure out. But the important thing is that you can have as little as needed as in a software as a service, or you can have as much as you want as an infrastructure as a service. The difference between these are easily explained with this. So software as a service will be something like Microsoft 365. You log in and you immediately have access to it. You don't have to worry about an operating system or a server that you need to have somewhere to actually work with it. Everything it's in the cloud, it's ready. So you only have to deal with the software of it. Now, infrastructure as a service will be something like Azure, where I can put in a VM. I can set everything that will be in that VM. I can set up how much of RAM, of hard disk, or what kind of operating system it will have. Again, associated with owning and maintaining an on-prem hardware and software. You don't need to worry about a server that it's over there heating up the office and the air conditioner that goes with it and the amount of electricity that it's needed over there, and your disaster recovery, and you need to have batteries to hold it in case you lose power. And hey, that's something that happens over here in Puerto Rico, especially since Hurricane Maria a lot. So those are things that really we need to worry about if that is an issue in our area. Cloud solutions always also gives you faster and easier deployment, integration, updates, improving the speed and quality of service for your customers. That is a big option there for you. Innovation and collaboration, obviously, being in the cloud, having, for example, your OneDrives and your SharePoints on the cloud instead of on a server, that is something that gives you a lot of collaboration options for you. You can do co-authoring on Word, Excel, and PowerPoint documents. You can do co-authoring with other documents inside of Microsoft Teams. You will always have access to the latest technology and tools. You don't have to worry about buying a new server, for example, or buying new solutions because the ones that you have are already behind. And hey, that is the way of life with everything in computers. You buy something today, and by the time it arrives, something better it's coming up. So this way, you don't have to worry about that. Cloud solutions also enable seamless and secure collaboration. Like I mentioned, with Entra ID or Azure AD, you can have your users secured with the same security of Microsoft 365. So you don't have to worry about having your identity and your AD in the cloud. You can have everything synced up, and it's just one identity for all of your users. One example of a successful cloud migration is the case of a leading insurance company that partnered with Inova to move their legacy on-premise applications and data to Azure. Company, for example, they wanted to modernize their IT infrastructure. They wanted to improve their customer experience and optimize their operational efficiency. And Inova Solutions helped with the company design, implementation, and management of that cloud solution. In those solutions, you can add things like Azure App Service, so you do not have to have a physical server to actually run this application. You can have it as a service in Azure, and that will also alleviate a lot of the cost of having that service in the cloud instead of a server with the application in there. Also, things like Azure SQL databases, Azure Storage, Azure Backup and Monitoring. Basically this results in a lot of things like IT cost reduction up to 50%, depending on the hardware and software that you select. Instead of maintaining all of this on premises, you can have an up to 40% increase in performance. This number, I think it can even be higher, but I'm just using this as an example. You get high availability, high flexibility, and stability. So you can go up or down depending on the services that you need. One other example that I like to mention is, for example, retail companies, when they have to keep a service running and a site running because their customers go in to purchase items. But hey, in the Christmas time, or maybe in any specific time in the year, the sales go up. Then you can scale up during only those times, and you don't have to worry about having those costs all year long just because you bought it as a server on-prem. So that's another thing that you need to keep in mind. And you can get up to 30% improvement in customer satisfaction because your service will always be up, it will be secure, and your applications and your data will always be available for your customers. You don't have to worry. For example, us here, we worry about the electricity going out. We worry about the internet being slow or going down as well. Then in the cloud, you don't have to worry about those things.
No. So I think thanks for that very much for those information sets, all of the benefits that we can gain from moving from on-prem to cloud, and also the success of that customer case, right, for their move, where they were able to tap into Azure App Services to ensure to look at SQL database options, to look at storage, backup considerations, monitoring, and that's all within the cloud service of Azure. And then gaining the cost reductions, and then gaining the increase in performance, and then of course improve in customer satisfaction. Now those key metrics are again base. They can be higher for customers or companies depending on their use cases for Azure or for a cloud service, right? And the scalability, the flexibility, the cost efficiencies, and the innovation that you are tapping into with cloud services is exponential. I like to call it lights on, lights off. If I'm sleeping, I don't need my lights on. I don't need to be burning electricity or have my water running. So that's what Azure gives you. It's like a utility service, right? While I'm using it, it's on, it's billing me, I'm consuming. But if I'm not eating, if I'm not using the light, if I'm not using the water, then power off, turn it down, no cost, no billing charges for you during those times. And then let's say, as Javier mentioned, and there are scenarios outside of retail, right? For example, an election, a government, they're using an Azure service and they have a database and they may have an elections coming. They can spin up more resources to manage that period, whether it's a month or 3 weeks or a year, but then they spin it down and they reduce their costs and they go back to base when that spike has gone back to normal, right? So the flexibility there is absolutely helpful to the bottom line for companies, and where you are investing in what we call OpEx, right? Versus CapEx, so your capital expenditure, upfront spends on servers and electricity versus moving that to OpEx where you can manage. Those are the benefits of moving to cloud. And while I don't want to speak of other clouds, it's not just Azure, right? It's available across cloud. So whether you want to do a mix of cloud scenarios or you want to focus on one, these are some of the many benefits that you can get from moving from on-prem to a cloud solution. All right. So Javier, I think I am 100% happy with our conversation today. There's a lot of takeaways, a lot of information to glean from, and I hope the persons listening in today have taken away some good information to go back home and consider, or back to the office. So again, Javi, thank you for your time. Thank you for all of the information shared, and we look forward to our next episode. And thank you again, everyone, for listening in. It was a pleasure.
Pleasure as always.